What's up, everyone? It's your girl Shay here. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome back to my channel if you have been here before. And as you can see by the title of this video, I want to talk about reading book slumps, just being in one in general, how I kind of might have gotten myself out of it, which I think I might have mentioned before. But I just want to talk about that and kind of rant, rave, and give my thoughts too on like BookTok and stuff like that. And also, please don't flame me in the comments. These are just my own personal opinions and my own issues that I've had with some of the books that have came out. And granted, I have not read everything, so maybe I just haven't hit my genre yet, but I might have. But I'll explain more. So pretty much for the past like 4 years or so, I've been reading mostly exclusively either fan fiction, manga, or manhwas. That's usually what I've mostly been reading nowadays. And I have every now and then dwelled back and forth into reading or trying to read more traditionally published novels. I think one of the first books that I started reading was called Night Watch, Night Library, something like that. I did a review, I think, on my channel of this actual book. And I started reading that book because I wanted to get back into more traditionally published novels and books that I was seeing on BookTok that were recommended to me. Now, I don't end up on BookTok For You page, or I don't end up on the side of BookTok very often. My For You page is very differently curated, but every now and then I end up on there, and I saw a lot of the books that are being recommended and I wanted to check them out, read them, and see what they're all about, because I hadn't been in the book space in such a long time, due to fan fiction just being so good. Like, fan fiction is amazing. If you haven't read fan fiction, highly recommend reading fan fiction because it's just really good. So many great writers, and books are completely for free, and they're just so well written. But anyway, I decided to delve into a BookTok, read some of the recommendations that I was getting, and I was very disappointed, pretty much. And it didn't help my book slump. It kind of, in a way, made it worse. So the first book I remember reading was called like Night Library, in the Library, Night something. It was called something. And I think when I read it, at the end of it, I think I might have gave it like 2 stars, I think, because of the fact that I didn't like the plot was fine, but the way it was executed didn't make me care about any of the characters. And I felt like it was just trying to get to the smutty parts of the book or the smutty part of the plot, which I am no stranger to smut. I absolutely love smut. In books, I read smut in fan fiction. I don't mind it. Like, I don't mind smut in my books. I don't mind smut in fan fiction, pretty much. But it just felt like the books were written just to get to that point, but the plot was forgotten about, or the plot was like in the background. The plot was a subplot to the book, but the main book was just trying to get to the smutty parts, and you didn't care about the characters, their intentions, their motivations. You didn't care about the romance between the 2 characters. That's just kind of how I felt about it. So after that, I decided to try the Twisted series. I had heard a lot about Twisted Love, Twisted Hate, all of them. I got through 2 of the books and then now have dropped the series. Again, I think it was just because of the fact that I just didn't care about these characters as much as I felt like I should have. And I had felt like I had read better books of the same trope through fanfics. So like Twisted Hate was like, or Twisted Love was like enemies to lovers, or like brother's best friend. And I've read better ones on AO3 than I have with that. And the second one was like a bodyguard AU, and I've read much better bodyguard AUs before. So they just weren't very good, and I just didn't enjoy them. And so I was like, I need to switch it up. Something's got to change. So I decided to switch up genres, and I ended up on horror or mystery BookTok. And that's kind of where I've been enjoying books so far. I've only finished 1. It's been slow going because, granted, I've been reading like 2-3 books at a time. So I was reading a fan fiction. I was reading a manhwa as well. I'm reading Solo Leveling. Then I was reading Camp Furwood, which I just finished, which I just did a YouTube short about. That's already up by the time this video goes up. And then the other book I was reading was the new Hunger Games book, Sunrise of the Reaping. Those were the books that I was reading, so it took me a long time to finish all of those. And I'm still reading Solo Leveling. Trust me. But anyway, I realized that I had to switch up the genre in order to get out of it, because I felt like trying to read romantic comedies was not the game that I needed to play to get out of this, because I just wasn't finding anything for me that worked well. So I have now decided to start reading more horror and mystery books. And I guess the bottom line is, if you're someone who is in a bit of a book slump, or you've been on BookTok and you feel like the books that are being recommended to you aren't that great, or you're not liking them, or something's just not hitting, I recommend switching up your genre. If you're someone who's typically a romance reader, but the romance books just aren't hitting, try reading a mystery or horror novel and see what happens, or read a fantasy. So that's kind of like my biggest takeaways right now, is that if you're stuck in a book slump, try changing the genre that you're reading and see if it gets you out of it. I don't know if I will go back to reading romance within traditionally published novels. I might, but I might just switch up the authors or switch up what I'm looking for. I've seen a lot of Emily Henry books have been highly recommended. Abby Jimenez, I think, is another one. I might check those out. But for now, I might stick with the horror genre. My next book that I plan to read within the genre is Incidents Around the House. I borrowed it from my local library, so definitely going to check that out next. But what are you guys' thoughts about this? What are your thoughts on BookTok? I don't have an issue with BookTok. Let me preface that also. I think BookTok is perfectly fine. I just feel like the caliber of the books that are being recommended and the books that are coming out have a very distinct end goal in mind, or the ones that have been recommended, and I don't think those books are for everybody. And I think the issue with those books is just that it's getting to a very, just the smutty parts, which again, don't mind, but I just need to care more about the characters and care more about the attention of the characters, what's actually happening, so it can build up that tension, so that when it gets to that part, it's very satisfying to get there, instead of it being like happening within the first 10 pages and I don't understand why I need to care about these characters. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Comment down below your thoughts. This video, thumbs up if you like, follow or subscribe to me if you haven't already, and I leave links below to all my social media accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, and of course I have my TikTok, Threads, and my Blue Sky. Twitter, I'm not really on there as much, but it's still linked below if you guys want to follow me on there. And yeah, that's what I have for you guys. Like I always tell you guys, stay positive, stay nerdy in today's day and age, stay healthy, and of course, please stay safe. All right, you guys.